She said it without even looking up from her phone. "Stop being so emotional about my work trip. I'm not your property." The word emotional landed like an accusation, like weakness exposed under fluorescent light. I nodded once. Noted. That was all. No argument, no raised voice, no plea. I watched her pack with mechanical precision, like I was inventorying a loss before the fire finished its work. Her perfume lingered after the door shut, something sharp and expensive, clinging to the lie she carried with her. That night, I didn't sleep. I listened to the building breathe. I replayed her tone, the casual cruelty, the rehearsed defiance. It was the sound of someone who had practiced being innocent. At 6:12 a.m., my phone chimed. A calendar update I hadn't scheduled. Emergency board meeting, mandatory attendance. Sent by my own company. Not my assistant, not me. I arrived early, I always did. The lobby glass reflected a man who looked calm enough to trust. That was my advantage. Panic is loud, control is quiet. When the elevator opened onto the executive floor, I heard voices inside the boardroom, familiar, intimate in the way conspirators sound when they believe the door is sealed. I waited. Then I stepped in, and watched her father go pale. Watched the man she had been sleeping with freeze mid-sentence. Watched a stranger sit comfortably in my chair. The stranger smiled first. I didn't ask questions. Questions are for people hoping the answer changes. Something in her eyes finally flickered. Not guilt, calculation. The same look she wore when negotiating, when she believed leverage was on her side. Her father cleared his throat, too loudly. The man in my chair introduced himself as interim CEO. Interim implies consent. Interim implies transition. Interim implies I'd already agreed to disappear. I hadn't. As they spoke in neat corporate language, terms like fiduciary responsibility and succession planning, my mind replayed small moments I'd dismissed as fatigue. The sudden privacy screens, the calls taken outside, the way she'd started calling the company ours only when others were listening. I'd built that place from a folding table and a bad idea, and she had watched the structure rise like something owed to her. Infidelity wasn't the injury. That was pedestrian, expected even. The betrayal was strategic. She wasn't leaving me, she was replacing me. I remembered her father's sudden interest in governance, the lover's promotion path, too steep to question without sounding paranoid. Their shared smiles across dinner tables, the way they stopped mid-conversation when I entered. I had been the only one not in the room, until now. Over the following weeks, I played the part they assigned me. The stunned husband, the distracted founder, the man unraveling quietly. Internally, I was counting. Phone records don't lie when arranged correctly. Expense reports are confessions disguised as numbers. Secure files leave fingerprints when you ask the right questions slowly enough. I discovered offshore accounts bearing my wife's signature, authorized by her father. I found drafts of a shareholder vote scheduled during my supposed medical leave. Emails summarizing meetings I'd never attended. And then there were the hotel receipts. Not the kind couples make, the kind conspirators do. I watched her come home late and pretend to be tired. I memorized the cadence of her lies. I let her believe I was drowning in denial while I assembled the map of her escape. No confrontation, not yet. Revenge requires patience. Justice requires proof. And I wanted both clean. The forensic audit arrived on a Tuesday. Hard copy, tabbed, signed. I invited her to lunch. Neutral ground, public. I slid the folder across the table without comment. She opened it. Her hands shook by page 3. By page 6, she was crying. Not for me, for the sudden collapse of a future she thought was secured. "This isn't what it looks like," she said automatically. I sipped my coffee. "It's exactly what it looks like." I didn't ask about the affair. I let the transactions speak. I let the timeline indict her. Her father tried calling. She didn't answer. For the first time, she realized I'd been awake the entire time. The next morning, she walked into the company I built. So did her father. So did her lover. They found the board assembled. They found the stranger gone. They found my chair occupied. Their accounts were frozen. Their shares restructured. The interim CEO turned out to be my attorney, smiling politely as he explained securities fraud in simple language. I made no speeches. I didn't need to. I stood, collected my papers, and nodded once. To each of them. Calculated. Final. She reached for me. I stepped back. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clear. Some losses teach you what you built. Others teach you who you built it with. I walked away unchanged on the surface. Inside, something essential had hardened permanently. Control isn't loud, and trust